Ready? I'd like to call the meeting to order. Please rise for Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And tonight, our invocation will be given by Pastor Horace Ferguson, Pastor Emeritus, I think I said it right this time, of the Holly Springs United Methodist Church, a great contributor to our town, and someday I'll tell you all the things that he's done, including a dedication to this place. And welcome back, Pastor. Please come forward. And I won't tell him about our golf game.
Please don't.
But we had a lot of fun, didn't we?
We have. But it went south.
Or north,
When my
or
wife
east,
started
or
beating
west.
me, it was time for me to stop. Good evening. Would you pray with us, please? In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Come, Holy Spirit, heavenly dove, with all of thy quickening powers, and renew afresh in each of us that flame of sacred love in our waiting and longing hearts and minds as we humble them before you. Now assembled in this place tonight, O God, allow your presence to sway this meeting, that the needs of this community may be graciously and faithfully served, that our vision and reasoning may be raised above all barriers dividing and splintering us from one another. Thy presence, which prompts wisdom to honorably deal with all citizens and related town issues. Thy presence, which allows us to serve rather than seeking to be served. Awaken, O God, in this town council, the desire to seek your way in serving you and all within the Holly Springs community. Throw your welcomed greatness around this council in the conduct of its important business of the night. Let their goodness flourish and their weakness fade from sight. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Pastor.
Thank you.
Good words. Good words. Item number 5 is a public comment period, and as of now, there's no one signed up, so we will open and close the public comment period and go directly to agenda item 6A, public hearing 15 REZ02 Harris property, Laura Holloman.
Good evening.
Evening, Laura.
Good evening.
First item on the public hearing agenda is 15 REZ02, which is the known as the Harris property. This is the 2 parcels here which make up the rezoning request, totaling 43.31 acres. As you can see, it's situated along Holly Springs New Hill Road, just west of the second 12 Oaks entrance there off of Ancient Oaks Drive along here. The applicant tonight is requesting to rezone the properties from PUD, Planned Unit Development, to R10 Residential. And kind of a history lesson as we go back in time as to why it's PUD, known as PUD. The subject properties, along with present-day 12 Oaks, were once part of what was called the Finisterra PUD, which was approved back in 2000 and was meant to be a large-scale golf course master plan community. However, Finisterra never developed, and 12 Oaks came to fruition and developed under its current boundaries, and the 2 subject parcels were never included in the development equation. So although these parcels are technically zoned PUD, it is an empty district because Finisterra is in fact expired and no longer exists. So with that, they are requesting to go to R10, which would include a maximum density of 3.25 dwelling units an acre, would have a minimum lot area of 10,000 square feet. However, under development options, it does, if they were to choose to do that, when they went through their subdivision plan, they would have a minimum lot size of 7,500 square feet. But of course, they would go through the full review process with that, but would be still held to 3.25 dwelling units an acre. And from a staff perspective analysis, when we looked at R10, we did feel that this was harmonious with the surrounding area because Phase 6, which is right here in 12 Oaks, which is the houses are under construction now, they have an average lot size of just over 7,000 square feet. So therefore, we believe that's comparable with the surrounding area. There was a neighborhood meeting held where no one showed up. Planning board did review this at their June meeting and didn't have any questions or comments and recommended approval. This is the zoning map, so you can see here the PUD with these two, along with what's known as the 12 Oaks PUD here. And then the BERT track is kind of just south of here, on the south side of Holly Springs New Hill Road. This is the land use plan dictating these as residential, as you see in the tan color, and this is what's known as the BERT track subdivision that was approved last year. And then in the dark blue is what is called out as business park. So extending our Holly Springs business park into this area. This is Novartis here. Again, planning board had no issues and recommends approval. Any comments or
Questions of Laura
questions
before
from me?
public hearing?
That's pretty straightforward.
Think so?
Notice no planning board discussions whatsoever, because just. that's
We're
a little bit
kind
unusual.
of, was unusual, but, it was explained to them, how it happened, and they were, they agreed that the zoning district was in line with the land use plan in the surrounding area.
I think that's a given, but, yeah. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Laura. At this point in time, we'll open public hearing, and I believe Tom Spalding is signed up to speak. And I think you know the ritual, if you want to call it that.
For the minutes, my name is Tom Spalding with Spalding and Norris. We are at 972 Trinity Road in Raleigh, and we're representing the landowner tonight in this rezoning. I'll just keep it brief, and I just think that it's safe to say that this property should be residential. It's just a matter of which zoning it should be. I think R10 is appropriate given the adjoining uses. I think the plus side for this, for the town, is that it's a very odd-shaped property. And to get somebody to go in and venture maybe doing a development on this with all of the widening and all of the water line extension, I think it would be a really good thing to get that going out New Hill Road. And if you could get that done for free, that would be a good thing for the town.
Sounds good. Thank you, Tom.
Thank you.
At this point in time, we'll close the public hearing. Is there further discussion from the board?
No, sir.
Seeing none. Motion number one. There's two.
I'll make the motion to accept the following statements as being true. The requested zoning map change from PUD to R10 is consistent with the vision of Holly Springs Comprehensive Plan. Since the vision Holly Springs Comprehensive Plan encourages the development of residential uses and indicates these properties as residential on the future land use map. The R10 residential district will provide for residential uses and residential lot sizes consistent with the existing uses and existing lot sizes in the surrounding area.
Second.
Motion been made and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed unanimously. Number two.
Motion to adopt ordinance 15-REZ02 to approve and enact zone map change petition number 15 REZ02 to change the zoning of 43.31 acres of Wake County, PIN numbers 0639534949 and 0639642273 from PUD to R10 residential as submitted by Spalding and Norris, PA.
Second.
Motion been made and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed unanimously. Thank you, Laura.
Thank you.
Thank you, Laura.
Agenda item 6B, public hearing, 15 REZ03 410 West Holly Springs Road. Sean Ryan.
All right, good evening, everybody.
Good evening, Sean.
The next rezoning on tonight's agenda is the property at 410 West Holly Springs Road. This is also the previously approved Downton subdivision that was approved back in March of 2014 along West Holly Springs Road, just west of Blaylock Street and at the back of 3rd Street, back by the post office. So the specific request before you tonight, this is a conditional use rezoning. It was last rezoned back in November of 2013. And as part of that rezoning request, there were 8 conditions that were approved by the town council. And in order to change those conditions or modify those conditions, a new rezoning petition has to be filed and go through the entire rezoning process. So that is why we are here tonight. This only impacts the zoning of the property, and this will not impact the actual approved subdivision that was previously approved, unless modifications to that are proposed by the property owner at a later time. And so the condition that is being removed, and it looks like it got cut off on the bottom of the screen here, these first 7 conditions will remain intact. These are previously approved conditions, and it is not proposed that any of these will change. Condition number 8, which is cut off on the bottom here, was a condition which referred to all homes having to have a detached garage behind the front facade of the home. And the property owner is requesting that that condition be removed to provide themselves some flexibility in home design. This is the comprehensive plan map. The property in question is starred here. It's a residential designation, and changing these zoning conditions will not impact the consistency with the comprehensive plan. Same for the zoning. As you can see, the zoning is R8 with conditions, of course, and the R8 will not change either. That's the same zoning district, just changing the conditions of approval. Planning Board recommended approval, 503. There were some questions as to why this condition needed to be removed from the Planning Board. The applicant had talked about needing some flexibility with product design, but overall the Planning Board didn't have an issue with it just because it didn't impact really the land uses that could be built on this property or the density or anything like that. If you have any questions for me?
Questions, Sean?
Yeah, I do.
Go ahead, Lynn.
The garages, are they going to have garages on these houses, or you put them on the back side, or
We
how's
wouldn't.
that going to be handled?
Yeah, we wouldn't know until the time that a building permit was submitted. Under development options, there's a couple different options for what kind of garage you have, and that impacts the setback. But we do allow for front-loaded, side-loaded, and rear-loaded garages in development options. We don't require that there be a garage, so it would be really up to the eventual home builder as to what kind of garage, or if they're going to provide a garage at all for these homes.
That actually affects on-street and off-street parking.
Sure.
That would be a concern. Okay.
Other questions? Seeing none, we'll open a public hearing. One person signed up, Peter Knudsen, was here early. I was impressed.
My name is Peter Knassen. I work with Jones and Knassen Engineering, 221 North Salem Street in Apex. Here on behalf of the owner of the developer, Joey Ione. Just to add a little bit, just to give you a little more history about the condition and why we're asking it to be removed.
Thank you.
When the original zoning came in, there was a specific builder associated with the rezoning and the project. That builder has since withdrawn from the development. They walked away. The owner has tried to go out into the building community and just hasn't, this one condition has been a problem for other builders to get on board. So removing this condition, as Sean had said, provides more flexibility to make it more viable for the builders. So I just want to reiterate that there is not a builder associated with it yet. So we do not know whether garages will be part of development. The only thing
Still early.
It's still a little early. But the only thing I will say, if garages are added, they will meet the conditions of the UDO. So if you have any questions of me, I'm here to answer them.
It's still early. We'll, I'm sure, see this
Yeah, we'll get to
later.
that, sure. It is an important element, though, as you know,
Yes.
to most buyers, but that's just an opinion.
And it's amenity a lot of people are more than willing to pay for because of the convenience.
It would be surprising if they didn't have garages.
Yeah.
Thank you, Peter, appreciate it.
Very good.
Thank you, sir.
At this point in time, I'll close the public hearing. Any further discussion from the board?
It's, I understand that, the point. It is disappointing, though, because it would make this quite unique by having a detached garage in the back. I don't think there's many developments with that, but I do understand the point.
Agree. Anything else?
No, it's still early. We'll see this again, won't we?
All right, yes.
The subdivision has already been approved, the preliminary plan. So as far as the subdivision goes, unless they make any sort of substantial modifications to that, the council has already approved that, and it wouldn't be back
But if
before
the
you.
builder comes in,
When the builder hadn't come in.
When the
Yeah.
building permits come in, those are reviewed at a staff level.
Okay,
so there may not be garages.
all right.
I am concerned about on and off-street parking.
Elizabeth, do you want to talk about that?
Well, I guess you can probably mention the fact that they're required to have off-street parking spaces for residential
Yes.
development. As far as the street width, it is not designed for on-street parking.
It is not, correct?
So how many are there required relative to the off-street parking? How many cars do they need to?
2 off-street parking spaces are required for each home.
Two per house, correct?
2 per house,
Yes.
correct.
So we have
minimum.
driveway length requirements and things like that, that I think address the concern you've got to have some aspect of off-street parking, but without a garage, that might be all they have is the
And you're saying
driveway.
the streets are not going to be designed wide enough for,
If I remember correctly, they're standard residential streets and they're not intended for on-street parking. That's not to say that cars are not
Won't
parked
happen.
on street. in-
Sunset Oaks, we'll talk about that later.
That's correct.
Yeah. Okay.
All right? Motion number 1.
Motion to accept the following statements as being true. The requested zone map change from R8CU to R8CU. Is that right? From RHCUs to R8CU? Okay.
That's right.
Is consistent with the vision of Holly Springs Comprehensive Plan, since the Village District Area Plan encourages the development of residential uses and indicates these properties as residential on the future land use map. The R8CU Residential Conditional Use District will provide for residential uses in the Village District and will expand upon the already built environment of the Village Core.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed unanimously. Number 2.
I'll make the motion to adopt ordinance 15 REZ 03 to approve and enact zone map change petition 15 REZ 03 to change the zoning of 14.87 acres of Wake County Pin 064-973-5899 and 064-973-9880 from R8CU residential conditional use to R8CU residential conditional use as submitted by JVI Development with the following conditions offered by the petitioner as stated on the screen.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed unanimously. Thank you, Sean.
Thanks, Sean.
Next.
3.
Oops. Going too fast here. 6C, public hearing, 15 UDO 02, UDO text amendment, communication relay tower. Sean Ryan.
All right, the next public hearing on the agenda is for a Unified Development Ordinance text amendment. This is an applicant-initiated amendment to allow a communication relay tower by special exception use in the R20 residential zoning district. Communication relay tower is the term used by our UDO for a cell tower or telecommunication tower. And so the applicant is requesting that we amend our ordinance to allow that by special exception use in R20. Just a reminder that if you do choose to adopt this request, that as a special exception use, any approval of a new tower would come before Town Council for full review. A little bit of background on telecommunication towers. We currently do not allow it in any of our residential zoning districts except for the R30, which is our least dense zoning district, 30,000 square foot lots. The R20 zoning district is our next low-density zoning district, which has a lot size of about 20,000 square feet, so somewhat comparable. Here is a map, and the darker green parcels, I've highlighted those to just give you an idea of where all of our currently zoned R20 properties are located in the town. As you can see, they're generally located around our periphery. There's some pockets along Bass Lake Road, along Avon Ferry Road, and then up along Sunset Lake Road here over by the NC 540 corridor. This time I'm going to invite the applicant up to speak as to why they're requesting this amendment to our UDO.
Okay. Please rise. Name and address, please.
Good evening, Mayor Sears, member of the council. My name is Gray Stiers. My address is 1101 Haynes Street in Raleigh, North Carolina. I'm here on behalf of the applicant Skyway Towers, LLC, which is a contractor for T-Mobile. I'm also a member of the Regulatory Policy Committee of the Carolina Wireless Association, whose members include T-Mobile, AT&T, Verizon, and all the service providers that provide the wireless service here in North Carolina. The proposal before you is primarily to provide some additional flexibility for the location of sites to provide a residential service to folks living in residential areas who are increasingly using their phones in their residences in replacement for their landline. More and more people, especially of my children's generation, will probably never own a landline, but they will rely upon their mobile devices in their homes. And so this creates a challenge for the industry to find residential areas where we can provide, in essence, a residential service. Ultimately, whether it is a good location or a not good location is to be determined by you in the special exception proceeding for any particular tower. So if it is a facility which is in a bad location with a lot of opposition, and the evidence shows that it would not meet the requirements of your special exception ordinance, then you would ultimately have the determination of whether or not to approve that special exception. But as we try to find sites, and it's worth noting here that unlike other utilities, the wireless industry does not have the power of eminent domain. We can't go in and take property or put it anywhere where we want to. We have to find a willing landowner who's willing to lease that property to us. You already have one facility in your town, which is in an R20 district already, and your ordinance already recognizes in the uses in the ordinance other appropriate infrastructure needs, such as pump stations and substations. And wireless facilities are simply one more category of infrastructure like the others that are already listed in your ordinance as allowed in R20. We've been working with your staff now for a number of months to try to increase T-Mobile service here in Holly Springs. This is a part of those efforts. Staff has worked very well with us, and we greatly appreciate that in trying to find a solution to allow us to provide service to this part of Holly Springs. And to do so, however, we will need this text amendment passed by the council. Be glad to answer any questions that you have at this time.
Any questions of the applicant? Seeing none, we're good. Thank you. At this point in time, we'll open and close the public hearing. No one else has signed up. Further discussion and or questions? You want to see where it is again? Think we're good?
I think it's okay.
Okay, click or wrong. Planning board, we talked about 503. Motion number one.
Motion to accept the following statements as being true. The requested UDO text amendments is consistent with the vision of Holly Springs Comprehensive Plan. The proposed UDO amendment provides tools necessary for staff and the development community to implement the goals and objectives stated in the plan.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Number two.
Motion to adopt ordinance 1508 to approve and enact UDO text amendment 15 UDO 02 to modify UDO section 2.02 as submitted by Skyway Towers LLC.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you again, Sean.
Thank you.
Agenda item 7A, consent agenda. Need a motion.
I'll make the motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed unanimously. Number 8, other business. I do want to tell a real quick little story about my crosswalk campaign. I almost got killed Saturday. Came close. I was walking away from the farmer's market, which I always go to, and I was halfway across the crosswalk, and a lady who was not paying attention to anything almost brushed me. And I yelled at her in kind of a nice voice, "You have to stop, lady!" She just kept going. So anyway, we're not over with that campaign. It's going to be a long time. But again, please convey to your friends and relatives and all those people, crosswalks are pretty important. And we don't want to have any other accidents, shall we say, in our town. But again, it's still something to always talk about. The mayor's anti-bullying committee will be at the farmer's market on Saturday. So come see us. We'll talk about why bullying is such an important issue to bring forth to the congregation. And I'll stop at that point. Others?
I'm just in baseball heaven right now.
Yeah, baseball's doing good. Doing good.
Baseball's doing good
As
in
many
Holly
of
Springs.
us are here on this council.
Oh, yes.
yes.
All, and to end the town
If you
itself
want to
as
see
well.
the town council members, you'll see them at baseball games.
Absolutely.
And we found out that the fire department has a great softball team, but John Herring isn't here tonight. Well, never mind.
Gosh, was it 5 to
I didn't
4?
say that.
5 to 4.
5 to 4.
Good game.
5 to 4. It was a good game.
Good game.
Anything else?
You're not going to comment about the wedding, the wedding that was there?
Oh, well, I can do that, yeah. We walked in and we were about 10 of 7, I guess it was, something like that. And I hear a preacher talking over the loudspeaker, and I thought, what is going on here? Are we having some kind of a problem? They had a wedding at home plate, and it was beautiful.
Absolutely gorgeous.
Absolutely a gorgeous wedding. It brought tears to my eyes. Well, not quite, but almost. Thank you, Chief. Thank you, Chief, for the shill. But it was a great evening, and that was very nice. We have a police officer that was getting married to a young man, and the 3 kids were in a nice little row, absolutely stunning. So anyway, it was very nice.
Both of them, please.
Both are police
Both
officers.
are.
What?
They were both
are
police officers.
Oh, both. I thought he. Oh, that's right. Both are police officers who lost the softball. Never mind. I'm not going to do it anymore.
Overcome with emotion.
I know. Anything else?
No, sir.
All right. You done? And again, I thank the town manager, Daniel Weeks, tonight, subbing for Chuck Simmons, who will be back next week. Daniel, you're on.
Yes, he will. Thank you, Mayor. As you just alluded to, we have a big day on Saturday at the Farmers Market. It is our Founders Day, and one of the founding fathers of Holly Springs is G.B. Alford. If he were alive on Friday, he would be 170 years old. So there will be a lot of activities going on Saturday. I believe the Masonic Lodge is giving a tour of their lodge and doing a pancake breakfast.
Mims.
I believe that Leslie Alford Mims House will be giving tours. All the town departments will be on hand and talking about their projects and exciting things that they're doing. Did I leave out anything, Gina, for that day? I believe the community band will be there also. So we expect a large crowd that day.
I'd heard the Rolling Stones are coming. Is that true? Maybe not. Anything else?
Yeah, that's all I've got.
Thank you, Daniel. Counselor,
Yes, sir.
Closed
Mr. Mayor,
session.
I do have a need for a short closed session pursuant to 143-318.11A5 to discuss some contract negotiation terms for the acquisition of real estate at the intersection of Avon Ferry and the bypass.
Motion to go into closed session.
Second.
we're in closed session. Thank you for coming tonight. And be there Saturday or be square.
Be there or be square.
Be there.